The trial of Otis McCain now entering day 7. Erica Hernandez joins us in the studio to talk about the testimony we could hear this afternoon.
And a 15-year-old shot and killed after a stray bullet flew into his bedroom. Trina Weber explains how that bullet came from a nearby gun battle.
There are some more opportunities for rain ahead before the heat builds in this weekend. We'll talk about the forecast coming up.
Live from KSAT 12, the news at noon starts right now.
The Otis McCain trial will enter its 7th day when testimony gets underway this afternoon. So far, it's been a lot of tense and emotional moments in the courtroom.
That's right. Erica Hernandez, who has been following the case since day 1, joining us live with more on what we can expect today. Erica?
Yeah, so far 37 witnesses have taken the stand for the prosecution, and we expect more today, including testimony from an expert witness from NASA. David Bretz is a senior NASA image analyst. Yesterday, he took the stand without the jury present to determine if some of what he was going to present would be admissible. Judge Ron Rangel will have a decision on that ruling today. We do expect Bretz to possibly return to the stand with the jury present. He was asked by the DA to enhance images and videos dealing with this case. Also, we have yet to hear from the lead investigator in this case, as well as a medical examiner. Those witnesses could be brought in today or later this week, as the state still has probably a little more than a dozen witnesses left to take the stand. Now, the trial starts back up at 1:30, and you can watch it live on KSAT.com. Max, Ursula?
Thank you, Erica. A West Side family grieving this noon after the death of a teenager, a 15-year-old who was hit by a stray bullet.
The boy was inside his apartment early this morning when a gun battle broke out outside in the parking lot. This was on Waters Edge Drive, not too far from Loop 410 in Marbach.
As Katrina Weber reports, relatives say it happened right in front of another child.
Patrol cars as far as the eyes can see line the 8600 block of Waters Edge Drive. They surround the scene of a double shooting. One victim, a 15-year-old boy, hit by a stray bullet that tore into his home.
This is very tragic. We believe that he was just innocent in his apartment complex when he was struck.
The medical examiner identified him as Tristan Jaden Rosas. Police say he was playing video games in a bedroom when he was shot in his head around 3 this morning. The bullet coming from a gun battle in the parking lot at the gates of Capernaum Apartments.
Dudes were fighting in the back. They're shooting at each other, and they brought it up here to the front.
According to a relative, there was at least one other child in the apartment when this happened, someone who witnessed the 15-year-old being shot. Police tell us no one else in the apartment was injured by the gunfire. The family was left hurting, though, and worked quickly to remove any signs of the tragedy. Police, meanwhile, spent hours working on the case. They say a man in his 40s who was connected to the shootout also was shot in his groin. Early on, they searched for others from their helicopter, but came up empty-handed. They did find evidence on the ground, including shell casings and a blood trail. And later, they searched a parked car which had a gun in it, but they still don't know if it's connected to this case. Katrina Weber, KSAT 12 News.
A woman assaulted, her car stolen, all of it happening on the city's southeast side, and officers still have not found the suspects involved. However, they do have these surveillance images of the suspect. Take a look at the screen. Officers say 4 people were behind this robbery. According to police, back on July 9th, the victim was assaulted. The group took off with her purse, her cell phone, and her car. It happened in the 300 block of Atta Street. That's near South Hackberry. If you know someone that can help police solve this case or something about it, you can call Crime Stoppers at 210-224-STOP. You could be eligible for a cash reward if you provide information that leads to an arrest.
San Antonio Police Department hosting another auction tonight, and all items were seized during incidents. Now, dozens of items on the list include several pairs of Yeezy and Air Jordan sneakers, a TV, and a lot of tools. You can also find handbags, watches, and belts from Gucci, YSL, even Rolex.
A question that comes up quite often is, we're taking this property from innocent people. We are 100% reactive unit. The asset forfeiture unit doesn't go knocking on doors and just taking people's property. It doesn't work that way. It's all due to high 90 percentile of the cases we have are narcotics cases.
The auction set for tonight, 6:30 at the VFW near Roosevelt Avenue and VFW Boulevard. You can take a closer look at this list Look at the items available for purchase. Just head to KSAT.com. Important to note, though, this is the first asset seizure auction since the start of the pandemic.
And speaking of the pandemic, a state eviction diversion program launched in response to the COVID-19 pandemic has been extended. That's according to new emergency orders from the Texas Supreme Court that were released on Monday. The program was set to expire on July 27th. The new order extends it until October 1st. The voluntary program creates an alternative to evictions when both tenants and landlords agree to participate. It offers up to 15 months of rental and utility assistance for tenants.
Well, the three biggest U.S. drug distribution companies and the drug maker, Johnson & Johnson, now on the verge of a $26 billion deal to settle lawsuits brought by state and local governments across the country over the toll of prescription opioids. The settlement involving AmerisourceBergen, Cardinal Health, and McKesson expected to end this week. Together, the settlements could take the biggest defendants out of trials happening now in New York and West Virginia and other trials across the country.
A history-making race to space taking place in West Texas this morning. Reaction from the crew on that spacecraft later in the show.
And Greg Simmons and our KSAT 12 sports team, they are en route to Oxnard, California for Cowboys camp. We're going to break down some of the big storylines, what you need to know before the kickoff of the season.
Young athletes taking off, headed for the Junior Olympics going on in Houston. After the break, Alicia Barrera takes a look at how these runners are preparing. A nationally ranked track and field and cross-country team headed to the Junior Olympics to represent the Alamo City. Nearly 50 San Antonio Swift athletes have qualified for more than 75 events, and they're hoping to bring back gold. Alicia Barrera went to Antonian High School on the city's north side, where she met with the coaches leading some of the top sprinters in the nation and explains what's next for them as they train for the final days ahead of the Junior Olympics.
It's all about the form, to be able to explode out of the blocks and sprint for their lives. Go. But for San Antonio Swift athletes, it starts with a key word: execute.
It's about teaching kids not only to run and to compete in their respective sport, but teaching them about integrity and unity. Don't worry about what everyone else is doing, but apply what you've learned to be the best version of yourself that you can be. You have to practice harder.
Assistant coach Tremaine Spencer is one of 11 coaches training 47 athletes, like 8-year-old Jada Boydston, headed to the Junior Olympics in Houston.
I want to be a track star.
She's small, mighty, and is ranked second in the nation in the 1,500-meter race with a time of
5:36.
That's 5 minutes, 36 seconds, and she hopes to sprint even faster for the big event. 30% of their qualifiers for San Antonio Swift are top 10 in the nation, and 20%, including Miss Jayla Flemons, are ranked top 3.
For the 1,500, I'm ranked first, and also for the 800, and my time for the 1,500, which is my favorite race, is 4:59.
For these athletes, running makes them feel powerful, and each time they want to set a personal record.
I need to push myself to my limits so that I will PR for myself and have a good time for myself.
Their dedication has led them to qualify for a total of 76 events at the Junior Olympics.
And although the Junior Olympics in Houston are only 9 days away, the hard work for San Antonio Swift continues as they're determined to place and bring back those medals here to the Alamo City. Reporting Alicia Barrera, KSAT 12 News.
All right, speaking of the Alamo City, you saw those young future Olympians out there. Sun was out, hitting the track. It was impressive. Watched the story at 9 a.m., watched it there. It looked great. Ursula, would you like to chime in?
I was just looking at the temperature, 85 degrees. I'm trying to figure out, no 90s today?
No. Those sprinters are probably enjoying this kind of weather. Honestly, it's been really pretty good. We got some rain yesterday, some fairly big storms coming in San Antonio. The aquifer, though, down a tenth of a foot, 670.3 in your pollen count. Look at this, mold, 18,470, jumped way up from yesterday, so heads up there. Pigweed is low. Still got a little bit of rain on the radar. More chances, too, coming up. We'll take a look.
Never miss miss a story, watch live or when you want. San Antonio's latest news and weather, streaming free on KSAT TV.
Five, 4, command engine start. 2, 1. Ignition. We have liftoff.
And with takeoff and success, history made in West Texas.
This is Blue Origin's first human spaceflight, taking off this morning from a remote ranch in Van Horn.
That's right. The 4-person crew boarded the rocket just hours ago, kicked off a big day for space tourism in the future.
As ABC's Marcy Gonzalez reports, there was no pilot on board, just 4 travelers going into space and back in about 10 minutes.
2, 1.
Blasting off into space and history.
On our way to space with our first human crew. Go, Jeff, go, Mark, go, Wally, go, Oliver. You are going to space.
Blue Origin's New Shepard rocket carrying Jeff Bezos and 3 other passengers on the trip of a lifetime. Traveling at more than 3 times the speed of sound, it takes them just 3 minutes to reach space.
Our astronauts have passed the Kármán line at about 328,000 feet.
The capsule carrying those passengers separating from the rocket, leaving the 4 space travelers weightless for 3 minutes. And audibly in awe. Bezos, his brother Mark, 82-year-old aviation pioneer Wally Funk, and 18-year-old paying passenger Oliver Damon taking in the incredible views through those giant windows before returning to Earth. The separated booster landing first, followed by the passenger's capsule parachuting to the ground where the celebrations begin. For Bezos, mission accomplished.
Oh my God! My expectations were high and they were dramatically exceeded.
And for Funk, who first trained to travel to space in the 1960s and didn't get to go until today, a long-awaited dream come true.
It was great. I loved it. I can hardly wait to go again.
And Funk is now the oldest person ever to go to space. Oliver Damon is the youngest. History made here in the West Texas desert with the first of what Bezos says will be many trips bringing passengers to space. Marcy Gonzalez, ABC News, Van Horn, Texas.
What was your favorite part?
I loved seeing him in the cowboy hat.
Yes.
I know that probably was the first time he's ever worn one.
Probably.
I'm
right
okay
there.
with that.
Yeah, Wally Funk loved it.
Wow. Can you imagine training in the 1960s and then,
Now,
60 years later, go for it?
Incredible. So cool to watch.
One day, maybe all of us are going to be able to take a little vacation together to space.
I'm good. I'm good without that. Justin Horn, though, was kind of walking us through the process this morning.
Well, I mean, you're a scientist. You would be really into that.
I would, but I'm going to wait a few more flights. Let's test that a couple more times, and then maybe I'll be ready to go. It does look really cool, though. We were all watching it closely here this morning. And a lot of people have been asking me, where is Van Horn and where is the site? You got to go out along I-10, and this really is the middle of nowhere out near in Culberson County. And there's not much there other than open land, so it's perfect for the launch site here. And the weather was good for it this morning, so it's all systems go. And it turned out great, as we saw there on TV. But if you were wondering, there along I-10 north of Van Horn is where that launch site is. For us, we were dealing with a few showers and storms a little bit earlier this morning. Most of that has moved out, but look at the rainfall over the last 24 hours. Some good numbers here. The airport picked up over 1 inch yesterday with those storms that moved through. Places like Kerrville did too. Southern Uvalde County, Carrizo Springs, anywhere from 1 to 3 inches there. Not an official number. 1.52 Pearsall, about 2 inches there on the border in Kinney and Maverick County line. Sutherland Springs, half an inch, a little closer to home. Some places here in San Antonio did get over 1 inch. It was mainly the north side and the northeast side. Places like St. Hedwig, 1.8 inches. So some healthy rain yesterday. The radar right now doesn't show much. Most of that activity has now died down. We have a few showers left over down near Laredo. And a little bit of activity north and east of Corpus Christi As we get into the afternoon, though, we should start to see a few more showers and storms develop. Still some rain along the coast, too. If you're headed to the beach, it's a little rainy this morning. There should be some clearing, though, as we get into the afternoon. There's the scene outside here in San Antonio. 85 degrees, 87 at Stinson, and we have a northeasterly wind in the middle of July. That's fantastic. Normally, that would bring in at least a little bit drier air. Dew points are down some, but not really noticeably. And 84 right now, Randolph, 82, Seguin, 86 in New Braunfels. Underneath clouds there in Kennedy, still 83, but we're up to 87 up there in Uvalde. Dew points, as I mentioned, down some, but we're still checking in at 73 here in San Antonio, so that's still somewhat muggy. Hopefully, dew points will at least come down into the upper 60s this afternoon. Here's what the forecast looks like. This is around 6 o'clock. We'll have some isolated showers and storms around. Not the kind of coverage we had yesterday, but still there is a chance for a passing downpour today. As we get into tomorrow morning, maybe a shower or two, and then by the afternoon, about a 30% chance of some showers and storms once again. It'll be hit or miss, pop-up stuff, but anyone in the viewing area will have the potential to see it. Rest of today, we'll top out close to 90, 30% chance of rain today, and then we'll drop it to a 20% chance this evening. Let's look long term now. We have an area of low pressure that'll move across the state, and so by Thursday, we'll be in a good position to get more rain. I think scattered showers and storms, probably our best chance of rain on Thursday. And then after that, high pressure moves in, and this is more July-like weather. That means it heats up and we see drying conditions. So here's how it looks on the 7-day forecast. 90 today, 90 tomorrow, 89 on Thursday, 40% chance of rain. And then by Friday, high pressure starts to take over and it gets toasty. Mid-90s both Saturday, Sunday, and even into Monday. Heat index values will likely be up around 100. As we've been saying, we were spoiled this month. So that's actually an average temperature for July.
We should not complain with the rain. Thank you.
Yep.
All right, speaking about the heat, we got the Suns tonight, a big finals game. Plus, these guys, Cowboys, back in action this week. Greg Simmons already at Cowboys camp. We're going to break down some of the big storylines you need to know before the preseason.
Pro football coverage, powered by Davis Law Firm.
All right, it's that time of year. Dallas Cowboys set to arrive for their training camp in Oxnard, California today, and we're finding out that they are one of only 13 teams across the NFL that have not reached that 85% vaccine threshold. This is so important because it actually introduces a whole new set of protocols and even restrictions for players who report to camp unvaccinated. This was actually revealed by former Cowboy wide receiver Michael Irvin. He gave a speech to emerging vets and players in Dallas. While the percentage of unvaccinated players on the Cowboys is unknown, the team will have a lab in Oxnard, California to test all unvaccinated players on a daily basis and test vaccinated players on a weekly basis. Unvaccinated players will not be allowed to leave the team hotel in Oxnard. They actually have to wear masks and maintain their distance inside the facility, while vaccinated players will not have to wear masks. They can eat out and work out with other players at the team facility. Reporters covering the Cowboys California camp, they're required to be vaccinated and must show proof upon arrival on today when the players report. All right, time to talk basketball. Look at that cool graphic. After stealing Game 5 on the road in Phoenix on Saturday night, the Milwaukee Bucks can claim their second NBA championship in franchise history. But it's been 50 years, so that's important to mention. If they win Game 6 tonight in Milwaukee, that is where they are a 5-point favorites following their 123-119 victory in Phoenix over the weekend. So what does it mean for the Bucks to have the opportunity to win their first title since 1974 in front of their hometown fans?
It means a lot, man, but I can't get too carried away. You know, I got to stay in the present. Can't worry about the outcome. But, obviously, we know what the deal is. It's one game away from, being an NBA champ, being in the history of this game, being always there. Nobody can take that away from you. Doing it in front of our families and our fans, it's big.
No one can take that away from you. On the other side, for the Phoenix Suns, they have now lost 3 games in a row for the first time since January. And as you can imagine, they're facing elimination for the first time in the playoffs. So let's take a listen on how they're approaching tonight.
Just embrace it. Yeah. we knew this wasn't going to be easy. We didn't expect it to be. And I mean, it's hard. Coach said it all year long. Everything we want is on the other side of hard, and it don't get no harder than this. So we got to regroup, learn from this game, but it's over. We got to get ready for Game 6.
All right, only a few hours away. NBA Finals live on KSAT 12 tonight in Milwaukee, 8 p.m. And then if there is a Game 7 Thursday in Phoenix, 8 p.m. Bucks lead the series 3-2.
A drug that was supposed to help people quit smoking may contain carcinogens. Details on the recall in the next half hour.
And after the break, details on a new gene therapy promising to one day help treat diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. We're going to explain.
Six Democrats have now tested positive for COVID-19 after nearly 60 lawmakers left Texas for Washington, D.C.
Now remember, they left the state in order to try to prevent or stop the passage of the election bill going on in the special section of the Texas legislature. Over the weekend, the Texas House Democratic Caucus said that 5 of their members tested positive for COVID.
Vice President Kamala Harris met with some of those Democrats. 2 of her top staffers tested positive, but she, we're told, has tested negative for COVID-19.
That's right.
Meantime, the virus cases in the U.S. are once again surging, largely due to the Delta variant.
37 states seeing more and more patients coming through their hospital doors for treatment, and they are overwhelmingly unvaccinated.
As ABC's Faith Abube reports, new COVID hotspots are now popping up all across the country.
The highly contagious COVID-19 Delta variant sparking new concerns across the country. The CDC says the U.S. is now averaging 30,000 new coronavirus cases a day, a spike in the weekly average of nearly 300% in just the last month. In Florida, the number of COVID patients needing to be hospitalized for treatment on the rise. In one hospital system, cases doubling in the last 2 weeks, causing administrators to once again tighten visitation guidelines. Nearly every state now seeing COVID cases spiking.
And it's far more dangerous for that group. And that, unfortunately, is the group that is experiencing the illness.
ABC News has obtained internal CDC data showing COVID deaths leading to major hardships for children. Nearly 120,000 U.S. kids have lost a primary caregiver to the virus. Health officials also say the virus is currently tightening its grip around children.
This is probably about the 10th leading cause of death for kids in the past year.
As the school year begins in parts of the country, the debate over wearing masks in the classroom once again intensifying. Pressure building on the CDC to reverse its guidance to require masks in schools regardless of vaccination status. Right now, children under the age of 12 are not eligible for the vaccines.
The feasibility of determining who's vaccinated and who's not among students is really going to be challenging.
The American Academy of Pediatrics breaking with the CDC, calling for everyone to mask up in schools.
We continue to recommend that schools implement layered prevention strategies to protect those who are not fully vaccinated and encourage vaccination for those who are eligible.
And CDC Director Dr. Rochelle Walensky says the unvaccinated remain the most vulnerable. She says in nearly 2/3 of U.S. counties have vaccinated less than 40% of their residents. In Washington, Faith Abube, ABC News.
Big news in your health headlines. Pfizer recalling some batches of Chantix. The company says its anti-smoking drug could contain cancer-causing chemicals. This comes after the company found carcinogens in some of their lots. Pfizer says there's no immediate danger to anyone who's taking it now. It's only a problem if someone's been exposed to it over a long period of time. Pfizer also says the health benefits of stopping smoking outweigh the theoretical potential cancer risk here. The FDA recommends patients actually keep taking Chantix until their pharmacist provides a replacement or their doctor prescribes something else.
A new method of gene therapy now being used to treat children who are born with a rare genetic disorder. And as CNN's Mandy Gaither reports, researchers are hoping one day it could help treat neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's.
It's been a long road, but as technology continues to evolve, so does gene therapy.
Pretty much a fancy way of delivering a medicine to the brain through genetic means.
Dr. Krzysztof Bankiewicz is a professor of neurological surgery at Ohio State University's College of Medicine and co-author of a study published in Nature Communications. Their research involved 7 young patients between the ages of 4 and 9 living with a rare genetic disorder which causes severe physical and developmental disabilities. Bankiewicz and his colleagues used a new method of gene therapy which infused a benign virus programmed with specific DNA into precisely targeted areas of the brain. Doctors then track the spread of the virus in the brain through real-time MRI imaging.
Allows us to introduce the correct version of the gene back into the cells in the brains of these children.
Bankiewicz says the patient's symptoms improved dramatically. Researchers hope this same method of gene therapy can be used to treat other genetic disorders, as well as common and more complex neurodegenerative diseases such as Parkinson's and Alzheimer's disease. Clinical trials are underway. The hope, he says, is to not only slow the progression of these aggressive disorders of the brain, but eventually reverse them.
We learned from our mistakes. We kept improving what we are doing, and I think we are on the right track here.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Looking outside with live cam, we've got a day that's going to hit 90, not much more than that. And again, with the rain chances.
Did you guys see any rain yesterday?
I saw a couple of drops, but that was about it. But up at the ranch in the Bulverde area, oh my goodness.
Came down in buckets.
And it came, fast too. The water was over the road in 2 seconds.
Some places picked up over an inch in San Antonio. It was hit or miss in the sense that there was a large portion of the town that didn't get much. But we're hoping that maybe we'll get a few more showers and storms the next couple of days. And I think we'll have some more chances as we get into Thursday. I want to show you the aquifer and update that for you real quick. It's at 670.3. That's a pretty good number. The 10-day average is actually 670.7. And as long as we're at this level, we're going to be just fine. We still got to get through August and September, which are hot months. But so far, we are in good shape. It's been a rainy summer, and that's not a bad thing. Looking at the satellite picture, still some clouds here around San Antonio. These will break up some. We'll get some sun today, and that will push temperatures up near 90. We are starting to see some development of some showers up there along I-10. Some of those are going to work into the hill country next couple of hours, so we'll keep an eye on that. The chance there for some isolated downpours today. Right now, we're 85 at the airport, 87 Stinson, 82 Seguin, 86 in New Braunfels, and the forecast calls for a high near 90. 30% chance of rain, partly cloudy skies, and a north-northwesterly wind at 5 to 15. As I mentioned, another chance tomorrow, better chances Thursday, and then a pretty hot weekend. We'll break down that 7-day for you here in just a couple minutes. Max.
Thank you, Justin. Now to the deadly flooding disaster in Europe and the race against time to find survivors. ABC's Maggie Rulli in Germany with the latest.
This gives you a small idea of just the human toll here. We're standing in front of what's become a makeshift garbage dump. It's the size of a football field, more than 2 stories high. But what's shocking is to remember that this is a pile of people's livelihoods, their homes. And sadly, this is just a fraction of what has been destroyed. And it is not just belongings. The death toll here stands at more than 200 people. Nearly 300 are still missing. The scope of this disaster is mind-boggling. It's hard to even comprehend. You look at these shots, it's like entire towns that have been destroyed, and on the ground you feel that destruction firsthand. It is days later and we are still seeing people caked in mud picking through piles of their ruined belongings. And now we're learning that there are questions about if this disaster could have been avoided in the first place. Just today, the National Weather Service here saying they warned of disproportionately strong rains a full 2 days before these catastrophic floods. Yet pretty much everyone we've spoken to says they were given no warning. Maggie Rulli, ABC News, Western Germany.
The threat of thunderstorms and lightning now prompting officials in Oregon to ask for wildfire crews from outside of the Pacific Northwest to prepare for additional blazes. Researchers are already hugely devoted to a massive fire in the state. It has grown to a third of the size of the state of Rhode Island. The 537 square mile bootleg fire is burning 300 miles southeast of Portland. The bootleg fire, fueled by extreme weather, it keeps on growing by miles every day. Officials in Southwest Oregon are asking for more crews outside just in case there's a surge in fire activity there. Meanwhile, in Northern California, a wildfire in the rural community continues to burn, forcing people to leave their homes. The wildfire, named the Dixie Fire, now burning nearly 63 square miles. It's about 15% contained. Most of the area that's burning is remote wilderness. Crews say the rough, remote terrain makes the fire especially difficult to fight. It can take firefighters 2 hours to reach some of the areas that are burning. Meteorologists are predicting critically dangerous fire weather, with lightning possible through at least Monday in both California and southern Oregon. The housing market's hot, but you may want to put the search for your dream house on ice. Why it might be better to wait. Still ahead.
And General Motors GM expanding its electric offerings. A look at the third vehicle being added to this exciting lineup after the break.
Hello everyone, this is your daily tech and business briefing from Cheddar News. General Motors confirming Monday they're going to offer a third electric full-size pickup truck that follows the GMC Hummer EV, which is set to begin deliveries later this year. The electric pickups are part of GM's plan to release 30 new electric vehicles by 2025 after investing $27 billion in EVs and autonomous vehicles. Meanwhile, Dole PLC is coming to Wall Street as the food company will offer 26 million shares priced somewhere between $20 and $23 each in their upcoming IPO. They're looking to secure a $2.1 billion valuation. Dole will list at the New York Stock Exchange under the ticker symbol DOLE. Now, earlier this year, Total Produce PLC and Dole Food Company merged to create the new company, Dole PLC. And cruise stocks cruising for a bruising on the stock market. It comes as reopening stocks are sinking, this following concerns of the spread of the Delta variant. Shares also down after the U.S. Court of Appeals reversed a ruling that sided with Florida, that in challenging the CDC's ability to place restrictions on the industry. Shares of Carnival Cruises fell 5.7%, under $20. Royal Caribbean fell nearly 4%, closing around $69 a share, and Norwegian Cruise Lines fell 5.5%, closing at $22. And that's your Cheddar News Business and Tech Update. I'm Baker Machado, coming to you from Cheddar Studios in Lower Manhattan.
Well, sticking with consumer news, if you're trying to buy a house right now, you've probably noticed that many homes are not staying on the market for too long, or they are selling for way over their asking prices.
Here in San Antonio, the average price for a house has increased by 19% in the past year. And across Texas, it rose 21%. That's according to the San Antonio Board of Realtors.
The housing market's so hot and competitive that some buyers are actually backing out, choosing another time. Low inventory, high demand, and increasing competition all combined together, pushing buyers out of the market. Northern California real estate agent and investor David Green, he's blaming burnout.
However, he also says he's telling some clients to put their search on hold, but not for too long.
I'm telling them to slow down and wait until wintertime when there's less competition, and at least we can get an idea of what they have to pay for that house so they can make an educated decision.
Also fueling the hot housing market, low mortgage rates, which motivated more buyers to bid on their dream homes.
All right, I know you guys are wondering, so I'm going to tell you. Per Zillow research in San Antonio, the typical home now worth $244,000, and that is up 15% since last July, and it's up more than 2% since just May.
Wow.
That's the highest on record since 1996.
That's scary if you're looking for a house.
Yeah.
No kidding. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Good stats, Max. By the way, follow Max on Twitter. He's got all sorts of good stuff on there.
Shameless plug there.
Quick
Thank
plug.
you.
85 degrees. So far today, 73 was the low this morning. Records are 101 and 66. 101 set back in 1996. We're going to start to get a little bit closer to that average temperature, if not above, by the weekend. We'll talk about the forecast coming up.
Well, happy Tuesday and welcome back. We talked about seeing some of the rain yesterday. I'll tell you, it came in and left within about 20 minutes.
I was driving home from work and all I could see on the north side of town was just pitch black. I mean, it was quite the storm, a lot of thunder.
It was ominous. It was ominous. We had that outflow boundary come through, picked up winds, saw some really good wind gusts, and those dark clouds came through. Thankfully, no severe weather. It was just rain, but some spots did pick up some pretty good rainfall. And let's talk about some stats here. So I went back and counted how many days we've had rain on the radar, not necessarily in San Antonio, but in our viewing area. And that's been 15 days now out of the month. We're talking about July here. 15 days. Only 5 days has there been a quiet radar. Pretty incredible. And you look at San Antonio specifically, we've had 10 days with measured rainfall there at the airport. So that's pretty good within itself. The numbers have been just incredible so far this month. We've stayed in an active pattern. We've had rain on the radar, and today is no exception. It was included there in that statistic because we do have more showers developing. We had some storms earlier, but more activity up here across the hill country that we'll be watching. This should be pushing south, so places like Kerrville, Lakey a little bit later today could get in on some of this action. And some of these clouds you see bubbling up here, those will eventually become some showers and isolated storms, and they'll work their way south and southwest. So there is the possibility even here in San Antonio of seeing a shower. Don't think we'll see the heavy rain like we saw yesterday, but some rain nonetheless. At least the potential is there. 85 degrees, northeasterly winds at 7. Feels like 92 when you factor in the humidity, so there is a heat index. 81 Bulverde, 89 Castroville, 88 Bandera, 84 up there in Kerrville, place that picked up some rain yesterday. 84 in Kennedy and 85 right now in Cotulla. Dew points, well, they're trying to come down a little bit in the hill country. 59, that's a great number. Slightly drier air in the hill country, but we've still got fairly elevated dew points here in San Antonio, 73. You would think with a north wind we could get this number to come down a little bit. So far it has not, but I'm hoping during the afternoon we could at least get it to drop into the upper 60s. In the meantime, there's still a heat index. Feels like 92 degrees outside, feels like 94 in New Braunfels, feels like 90 in Gonzales, feels like 92 down there in Cotulla. Here's what the forecast looks like. And once again, we've got some isolated showers and storms here or there. 20 to 30% chance of rain. Things die down tonight, build back up again tomorrow. And I think we'll see about a 30% chance of rain during the heating of the day. Some isolated downpours. And as we get an upper level low to move across Thursday, our rain chances will go up even more. About a 40% chance on Thursday. Then after that, high pressure builds in. And we're going to say goodbye to the rain, at least for a little bit. Here's what the forecast looks like today. 90 degrees, your high temperature, 20 to 30% chance of rain, as I mentioned. Just a 20% chance of rain as we get into the overnight hours. And then the rain chances will go 30% today, 30% tomorrow, 40% on Thursday, very, very slight chance Friday. And I think over the weekend, we're talking about nothing but sun, mostly sunny skies and hot temperatures. 90 tomorrow, 89 on Thursday. And then those temperatures ramp up from there. We haven't seen upper 90s, at least not often this summer. There's been a couple days here or there, but looks like we could get there as we head into next week with mostly sunny skies, 95 both Sunday and Monday. We'll be right back.
Kevin Smith bringing the He-Man Skeletor and the other legends of Eternia back to the small screen. It's part of a new show on Netflix. CNN's Rick Damigella has a preview.
The heroes and villains of the 1980s Mattel toy line are back in Masters of the Universe Revelation.
Call your champion.
This is no reboot or remake, but a direct sequel to the original cartoon stories.
The idea was it was always aimed at a very specific audience. They were like, we're really interested in making something that just spiritually sequelizes the cartoon that everybody knows and the toy line, something that is incredibly faithful, not a reinvention whatsoever. So if they had come to me and they were like, we want you to destroy He-Man and make it something else, I would have been like, I'm not your guy, man. Number one, I'm not that talented. Number two, nobody wants that.
The all-star voice cast includes Mark Hamill, Sarah Michelle Gellar, Stephen Root, and Lena Headey.
Yeah, we got lucky. I'll tell you, it's a mixture of like, those are some cats I've worked with before. But more importantly, it's people that just love the franchise. It's like Lena Headey was just like, I grew up on this. And we're like, that's how we get Evil Lynn? Because she actually grew up watching the show and she gave like a career lifetime best performance in our cartoon. It's nuts.
Whether you serve Grayskull or Snake Mountain, we all gotta work together now.
In Hollywood, I'm Rick Damigella.
Speaking of He-Man, SA Live, Mike Osterhage.
Ooh, he heard that. He heard that.
Usually when Max mentions my name, I think I'm in trouble. So anyway, thank you. I appreciate that. So, hey, we got something really yummy on the show, and it's guaranteed to be yummy.
Yes, okay. And Priscilla Gomez with Pure Heart Food joins us. Tell us why this is healthy.
Yes, a few years ago I was battling some health issues, and so I had to convert my whole health plan and nutrition facts to help battle those issues. Yeah, and the problem was I couldn't find anything that tasted good. So trial and error, came up with my own recipes, and now they're products that everyone can enjoy.
We have muffins cooking in the oven right now, and we're going to put her to the test. She guarantees they're going to be tasty.
Yes. And we are learning about the American West. It's National Cowboy Day, and Jen is at the Briscoe Western Art Museum.
Yep. Oh, sorry guys. I had to take a phone call real quick. Yes, we are here at the Briscoe Western Art Museum. They are getting ready for International Day of the Cowboy, Cowgirl, Vaquero, whatever you want to call it. But we are going to give you a tour here, do some crafts, and you won't believe what from the Alamo. Remember the Alamo? There are some really unique pieces of history here. We're going to show you all of that. I'm pretty excited. Back to you guys.
That's so cool. Hey, 158. How many days till Christmas, believe it or not?
Oh, but why not get into the Christmas spirit in July? We've got some great seasonal DIY crafts to show you.
Yep, and it is National Moon Day. Jeff Bezos, they just launched today, and of course this is the 52nd anniversary of Apollo 11 landing on the moon. Social question, would you go into space?
And if so, what's one thing you would take with you? Not electronic, not a person, not a pet. What would you bring? Let us know at SA Live KSAT.
I'd have to bring Theo.
You can't bring a person. You can't choose a person.